Hey guys, Friday. This is part 2 and 3 of 2 Philippians, verse 3 and 4, where Paul cites 5 genuine spiritual unity acts. Number 1 was selfishness, a negative. Now we're going to talk about 2 and 3. A second means for promoting spiritual unity is forsaking empty conceit. It refers to a highly exaggerated self-view, which is nothing but empty conceit, whereas selfish ambition pursues personal goals. Empty conceit seeks personal glory and acclaim. The former pertains to personal accomplishments, the latter to an overinflated self-image. Understandably, a person with such conceit considers himself always to be right and expects others to agree with him. The only unity he seeks or value is centered on himself. Because empty conceit is by nature self-deceptive, believers must be on constant guard against it. It's an implacable enemy of spiritual unity. And then the third means of promoting spiritual unity Paul mentioned here is humility of mind. It's the very opposite of selfish ambition and empty conceit, and is the correction for them. Humility of mind is the bedrock of Christian character and of spiritual unity. It is not incidental that the first and foundational beatitude refers to being poor in spirit, which is synonymous with humility of mind. Humility of mind is the opposite of pride, the sin that has always separated fallen men from God, making them, in effect, their own gods. Humility is also a dominant virtue of the Old Testament. When pride comes, then comes dishonor, warned Solomon. But with the humble is wisdom. Moses was very humble, more than any man who was on the face of the earth. David said, "For though the Lord is exalted, yet he regards the lowly, but the haughty he knows from afar." In another psalm, he wrote, "The humble will inherit the land," a passage Jesus quoted in the Beatitudes. "Blessed are the gentle," or the meek, "for they shall inherit the earth." Jesus himself described himself as gentle and humble in heart. 3 times in 2 verses in his first letter, Peter calls for humility. "All of you clothe yourself with humility towards one another, for God is opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you at the proper time." Genuine humility involves believers not thinking too highly of themselves and requires that they regard one another as more important than themselves. Regard is a verb that means more than just having an opinion. It refers to a carefully thought out conclusion based on the truth. It does not mean to pretend that others are more important, but to believe that others actually are more important. Wow. It is clear that Paul has in mind a view of others that is not natural to man and is extremely difficult even for believers to achieve. Perhaps the best way to achieve that seemingly unrealistic and impossible challenge is for believers to consider their own sins. Believers know far more about their own hearts than about the hearts of anyone else. Recognizing the sinfulness of their hearts should exclude any boastful exaltation. Wow. Love that. Let me know your thoughts.